Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, which is a Fireside Chat, where you get to provide us with feedback on some of the features we are building and developing within Prism. Today's topic is on the faculty module. Today's presenters are Lakshmikant Shavan, who is a Senior Product Manager, and Vishaka Vave, who is our VP of Product Innovation. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please add your questions in the questions box. We will be pausing periodically to ensure your questions are answered. If you'd prefer to voice your question, please feel free to raise your hand. We'll go ahead and unmute you, and you'll be able to speak to all of us in the audience. As usual, you can download today's presentation in the handout section to follow along or to keep as a reference. This webinar will be recorded and shared with you along with the presentation via email 1 hour after the webinar ends, and will also be made available on our YouTube channel. We're going to give folks just a couple or more minutes to get their get logged in into the webinar, get their audio sorted. So in 1 to 2 minutes, we'll go ahead and begin. All right, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Lakshmikant, if you're all ready, you can take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Roshio. Hi, everyone. Good morning. This is Lakshmikant, Senior Product Manager working with Exxat. Thanks for joining today's Fireside Chat. In today's session, we are going to talk about how to associate faculties, what are different ways in which you can associate a faculty in the Prism. Then we are also going to talk about the features and the reports. Those are available for the course and placement faculty. We are also going to talk about curriculum mapping and the reports that are available for you to check the mappings. And we are also going to touch base upon configurable dashboards. We will end the session with Q&A, but we will also have in between breaks if in case you have any specific questions onto the topics, those are being presented. All right, so with that, let me quickly get started. So let me orient you with different modules of the Prism that are available for the users to access, to get the accesses. Based upon the user personas, our module is broadly divided into two categories. The first category is the student user. The second category is the school side users. So when I say the school side users, those are again either the administrator or the faculties. So when I talk about the administrator module, it's a full data access module where you can get access to all the data that is available into the Prism. You can access your placement, you can access the students, course, contracts, all the data. You can even set up or do the mappings for your faculties and make the association. So this is what we called as the administrator module, which is the full access. And there is another module called as the faculty, which provides you the limited accesses based upon your requirements. So how you can associate faculties to the different entities, that let me quickly show you that. So you can see that there are three levels of the accesses. There are three levels of accesses which based upon the association that you can provide to your faculties. The first one is the course faculty. If you are associating or mapping a faculty to a particular course, we call them as the course faculty. These faculties are responsible to build and they manage the courses. They are able to contribute to the curricular mapping, and they can get access to all the learning activities to all the students registered for a course. This is the highest level of the association where they can see the complete data about the course. The second level of the access is the placement faculty. If a faculty is associated to particular placement, they can only see the data for that particular placement. They can see the learning activities for the students who is registered for that particular placement, and they can not see anything more than that. So this is the lowest level of the access. And then there is the third level of the access, which is called as the student advisor. If you are associating a faculty as an advisor to particular student, they can access all student data. They can see all the learning activities for that particular student, and they can also do the mentoring based upon those data. So these are three different ways in which you can associate a faculty either to a course, to a placement, or to a student. So based upon your need, you can decide what works best for you, and then you can provide the control access to your faculties. So let me quickly show you how you can associate a faculty in different contexts. So if you log in as an admin, and when you go to the faculty module, when you click on particular faculty, this is what you see. On to the right side, you can see the complete information about the faculty, the profile details, first name, last name, contact details, everything. When I go and click onto the course association, I can see what are different courses with which that faculty is associated. If I want to associate any more courses to this particular faculty, I can go ahead and click on assign courses. This is the one way in which I can associate a faculty to a course. There is another way in which I can associate a faculty to course. I can directly go to the course page, and there I can again onto the right side I can see which are the faculties associated to that particular course. If I click on plus button, then I can add more faculties to particular course. The next one is how when you are associating a faculty to a course, you can also associate or assign a label to that particular faculty. I can either call them the course coordinator, course director, instructor. That totally depends on your program setup. If you think that there is a need for you to add more labels or remove any of those labels, that can be done by reaching out to our support team. Today, you have to reach out to our support team to customize your list, but we are also working on developing a functionality where you can manage that from the product itself. You don't have to reach out to the support team. That is something which we are working right now, and that functionality should be available to you very soon. Moving on to the next level of the association, student advisor, right? So again, the same page, I go to the faculty, I click on the associations, and then I can see which all students are associated to that particular faculty. When I want to add more students association to this faculty, I will click onto the plus sign. I will get them added to the list. There is another way for me to add the faculty association. I can go to particular student, and then on to the right side, there is a plus button with which I can add faculty association for this particular student. Again, same as the earlier role, I can customize the advisor roles. I can see what roles are available into the drop down, and based upon the needs, I can select that. If you don't see the label which is used by your program, I can reach out to the support team and get that added. That list is quite customizable. Moving on to the last association, which is the placement. When I click onto the placement association tab, I can see all the placement for which this faculty is associated. If I want to add any more uh, placements to be associated with this faculty, then I need to go to the course page. I will click onto the placement tab. I will select one particular student, and then I can add that faculty as the placement faculty for that particular placement. So these are different ways in which I can associate a faculty to a course, to a placement, or to a student, right? And based upon these three levels of association, we can allow you to give appropriate access without infringing on to HIPAA or FERPA regulations. So with that, let me take a quick break and see if there are any questions that I can answer.
There are currently no questions, Lakshmikant.
I'm going to piggyback on what Lakshmikant said in his presentation. The goal of this webinar is going to be more to get feedback on whether these different role-based access that we have designed in our product, are they enough for your programmatic needs, or do you need additional role-based access when it comes to a faculty user at your program? So a course association will give them access to the entire data for that course, along with editability and managing functionality for that course. So they are, in short, a mini administrator of the course. A placement is a subset of that. So even if there are like 30 students registered for that course, if I am a placement faculty, I only get access to that student for that placement in that course. So it's like a mini subset of the course data that you're giving access to. And then the advisor role is more about the student and not about the course. So if I'm an advisor to a student, I really get visibility into their learning activities across all courses, so I can guide them and mentor them in their curriculum. So with that in mind, and in the next section, I'm going to show you the reporting and functionality specific to these roles. But so far, we would like to get some feedback from you on whether these 3 levels of associations work for you and for your faculty role in the program. So we're going to administer a poll now, and if you could give us a quick reply to this question.
And while we wait for folks to answer the poll, we did have a comment from Joni just letting us know that one role we need that isn't in the course is clinical faculty evaluator.
I see. So Jolie, do you mind, can we unmute you? Would you mind elaborating on this role? Because I think that's good feedback that we can take from you. Maybe just explain us what would this individual in this role be in charge of?
And I take
about the list. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm talking about the list of roles to associate a student with. That's where we need the clinical faculty evaluator, and that is a person who is not course faculty and teaching the course, but they are assigned to them for their clinical faculty role, and they go out into the location where the student is placed, and they do a site visit. They have ongoing communication with the site, and they are typically the ones that are, for us, we don't have our preceptors check off or view the students' time tracking and patient logs. The clinical faculty evaluator has that role. And so what they do is they look at the 3 components of the rotation that we've been tracking: the time tracking, the patient logs, and the evaluation, to assess the students' learning progress. And then at the end of the semester, they give a grade suggestion to the course faculty who is teaching the didactic portion of the course.
Got it. So thank you for that. I do have one follow-up question. Typically, a clinical faculty, how many placements within a course would they be in charge of? Would they be in charge of all the placements or a subset of the placements in that course?
A subset. Usually, I usually see a clinical faculty evaluator assigned to between 4 and 7 students. And we might have 30 students in the course, and so, or more. And so, you know, we have several clinical faculty evaluators per course. And this is direct care placements only, not non-direct care placements.
I see. Thank you, Joni. So sorry, finish what you're saying.
Oh, I just said you're welcome.
Okay, thanks. So listening to your requirements, it does feel like the clinical faculty can easily be the placement faculty, Joni. So they would, if we assign them a placement faculty role, they would then have access to all the evaluations, timesheets, patient logs for that placement, for that student. So we could tag them to as many placements as they are overseeing, which could be 5 or 7 according to your needs, and then they would get that access. But then they wouldn't get access to the whole course, but only to the 5 to 7 placements where they are tagged as placement faculty. And I can show you in the upcoming slides, I'm going to show you how it's going to work out so you can have a better picture. And if you don't think that, is going to meet what you need, please bring it up so we can discuss it more.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll here and share the results with everyone. I know Ellen mentioned she misread the question, but other than that, this is what the results showed for this poll.
Okay, thank you, Roshio. So we'll thank you for that feedback. We'll, in the interest of time, we'll continue. And I think I am going to take up the next set of slides. So I'm going to make myself the presenter. And let me know if you all can see my screen. Roshio, if you could confirm.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes, Vishaka.
Okay, all right. So the next section is all about showing you what a course faculty versus a placement faculty can do in terms of the features, the functionality, the reporting, and that will give you a better picture of how we've designed the faculty module. So what you're seeing right now is the faculty dashboard. So if I were a faculty and if I logged into Exxat, this is the screen that I would land up in. This is the dashboard which gives me shortcuts for my profile, the courses that I'm associated with, my advisees, and my student placements. So again, this is not a faculty module training webinar. We did that a few days ago, and if you would like, we could post a link to that. It's on our YouTube channel, but I'll highlight some of the screens that help you differentiate between the course faculty and placement faculty, and then we want to try and collect some feedback from you in terms of the reporting needs for these two roles. So I'll start with the course faculty. So here you can see that as a faculty, I'm associated with 7 courses. So my program administrator has assigned me 7 courses. And this is what Lakshmikant showed you, how those associations can be made from the administrator module. And then as a faculty, when I log in, this is what I see. So I'm going to click on the courses, and it's going to take me to a screen where it's going to show me all the 7 courses where I am marked as a course faculty. And I'm going to quickly click on one of these courses. So basically, I'm managing these courses, and I'm the mini administrator for these courses. So I'm responsible for setting up everything associated with this course, all the learning activities. So that's what I'm able to do from here. If you wanted, if I want to see what are all the other courses that are offered by my program, I could click on the curriculum grid and click on any of these, and it will show me all the other courses. It will show me the entire curriculum that's offered, but I'm not going to be able to go and edit each one of them because I'm not the course faculty for all of them. So I am just going to be able to edit these 7 courses. So let me show you what I can do. So if I click on one of these courses, I'm going to land on the course details page. And this is everything about this course, right? And I can set up the resources for my students related to this course. I can set up the event schedule. I can see all the students that are registered for this course. I can make announcements for this course that appear on the student dashboard. I can take a look at all the placements that have been made for this course. And then I have complete access to the learning activities of this course. Now, one call out here is the student registration. I, as a course faculty, am not able to change the registration, but I'm able to see all the students that are registered. For now, this editability of course registration functionality we've only given to your program administrator. But if you feel that in your programs, your course faculty would need to change student registrations, and this is something that you would want to give to your course faculty, do give us feedback on that during our questions break, or you can even type it into the questions or comments box and give us that feedback so we can think about how to evolve this for our course faculty users. And then the second call out is, today we are not allowing the course faculty to change the placement. So again, this is something that your program administrator, your director of clinical education does, but you get to see everything about those placements from here. All the details are available for you from here. In contrast to these two callouts, when it comes to learning activities, you actually have complete control as a course faculty to change and manage the learning activities. So as a course faculty, you can set up your learning activities, so you get to decide which evaluations you want to activate for this course, when you want to trigger them. If you want to use patient log, timesheet, or time off or not in your course, you get to decide that. So these pencil icons allow you to edit the setup of all these learning activities, and there is a bunch of decision making that's involved here that you can go through. We have detailed webinars on how these can be done, and they're available, recorded and available on our YouTube channel for you and your team to review. But basically, everything that an administrator can do regarding learning activities, you as a course faculty can do. So in short, that's the take home for the setup part, right? In addition to the setup, once the students and the preceptors start filling up these forms and start reviewing them, if you click on the review, you are even able to review all the learning activities as a course faculty for all the placements that are part of this course. So if you click the review button, you land up on the screen, and whether it's evaluations or patient logs or timesheets, you can click on each of them, and you can actually go into the learning activity, and you can click on the status, and you'll actually get to see that learning activity, what's been filled. If you wanted to go ahead and review it, you could select an option of review or submit, and you could go ahead and do all those activities, right? If you go to patient logs, you could review the patient logs by the course, the rotations, and within each rotation by each placement. And if you click on here, you could actually see all the patient logs submitted by as a part of this placement by the student. And this right arrow here will allow you to go on browsing or flipping between the placements. Whereas if you click on the log ID, you can actually get a view inside the patient log. And from here, if you click on this right arrow, you can flip between the logs submitted for this placement. Right? So these are all the views that are available for you as a course faculty. And of course, you can filter by the status as well to get those specific reviews done. Same for timesheet and time off and assignments. I'm not going to go into the details. And then you as a course faculty can also distribute the evaluation and trigger those for your preceptors and or staff members as needed. So you can pick the form that you want to distribute, and you can pick the recipient category. You can even schedule them or look at the distribution history, right? So all those features are available to you as part of learning activity management inside of a course as a course faculty. So I'm quickly going to go back. So that was what a course faculty can do, right? So now I'm going to quickly show you what a placement faculty can do. And if you're following along using our slide deck, then you will have some screenshots navigating you to all the points that we covered, but I wanted to show you in the live system so you can actually see what can be clicked, what are the different views, and all of that. So the next section is about the placement faculty. So again, if I go to the dashboard, student placements is the tile that I want to click if I want to get to all the placements where I have been marked as a placement faculty. So just a reminder, this is very specific data that your program administrator wants to share with you regarding a particular placement. So this data is about one student who is part of one rotation inside of a course. So you get to review all the learning activities just for that placement, not any other students registered in that course, but only the students where you are marked as a placement faculty, or to Joni's question, if you're marked as a clinical faculty overseeing that placement for that student, right? So there are two views that we offer for a placement faculty. You can either view all the activities by placement. So here for this particular faculty, there are 3 placements, and they can click on the review screen to see all the learning activities that they need to review or oversee. The second view is by course. So you may have placements, you may have been marked as placement faculty as part of 2 different courses, and you'll see this view by placement, by course. So it really depends on your preference. So in either of these, the data will be slightly different. So if you go by placement, you're looking at Dante Barrett, that's your first placement, which is part of this course. And if you click on review, you will be able to see all the learning activities completed by Dante for this particular course. So you can see there are 4 evaluations to be completed by the student. There are patient logs, and then there are timesheets. So you can click on each one of them and review them. Here, if you go back, then it takes you back to that page where, say, for example, if you want to review by course, then you can say, I want to see all the placements in the FNP1 course, and we provide a view for that. And for this particular course, I want to review the evaluations or patient logs or timesheets. So if I click on the evaluations, I see that for this course, I am in charge for 2 placements, and I can click on each of these and review the evaluations and give my feedback, comment, or review them, either approve them or send a comment back to student. So that's how I would go about it. If I click on patient logs, then I see that there are patient logs that I can look at. I can go and review these patient logs and approve them or send a comment back to student. So really, that's how it is divided between the course faculty and placement faculty. One big difference that we have that I want to point out is that the course faculty is going to have access to a lot of reporting. And let me quickly show that to you. So if I go to the reports section from my courses, you will have a set of reports that you can get for your course, right? You can pick which courses you want to include in your report, and only the courses that you're associated with will show up here. So you can pick all those courses. You can even pick the rotations for which you want to draw the report, and the settings and the status, and then you can say generate a report, and it will give you the data on all those placements that you have included as part of these selections. So as a course faculty, you're able to get all these reports for your entire course, but as a placement faculty, because you're only in charge of that placement, you're not able to aggregate at course level. You can only see the data placement by placement. So that's one call out that's there. And that's how it is, because you only have purview for that placement and not the entire course. So this design kind of helps us give you the best design, keeping in mind the FERPA violations or the HIPAA considerations, HIPAA and FERPA. And what we would like to learn from you is, will this setup work for you, or are there any other reporting needs you may have? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my slide deck, and we, I think, went through this. So I will come to this page and then share my screen. And Rocio, can you confirm if you are able to see my shared deck?
Yes, we can see the presentation.
Okay, so then keeping these functionalities and differences in placement faculty versus course faculty in mind, what we wanted to know from you is, we have gotten this request from some of our clients that, when it comes to evaluations where students are being assessed, you don't want to overshare, right? So you don't want to overshare it with individuals who are not directly teaching that course. But when it comes to patient logging, this is the work that the students are putting in, saying we have logged patients for these settings, and this is the exposure that we have had so far. So does it make sense for your course faculty to be able to see what kind of patients have the students logged in their previous rotations or previous courses. Does that information help your course faculty in their current course? So we want to give you that poll, and we would like to hear from you.
And Vishaka, we do have a question from Joni here while we wait for folks to answer the poll. The question is, we have some faculty who are both course faculty and placement faculty at the same time for a course. Can they be assigned to both roles to access without issues?
Definitely, you can if you wanted to, but if they are a course faculty, then you can directly add them as course faculty, and they will have all the privileges that the placement faculty also has. So they'll be able to, review all the learning activities for all the students in that course, including the ones that for which they are the placement faculty. So it's your choice if you want to give them a shortcut to their placements. So what you can do is you can assign them to the course and also assign them as placement faculty. In terms of functionality, even if you don't assign them as placement faculty, they will be able to do everything that a placement faculty can, because course faculty have a broader purview of data. So it's up to you.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and close the poll here and share the results with you all.
Okay, so most of you are saying no, you don't want them to look at patient logs submitted by the student before this course. Okay, so thank you for that. And then what we'll do is we'll keep moving. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my presentation. And Lucio, can you confirm if you're able to see my presentation?
Sure can, Vishaka.
Okay, thanks. All right. So similar to course faculty, would your placement faculty benefit from seeing patient logged in the previous courses or previous rotations? And I'm guessing based on the previous answer that the answer to this would also be no, but let's just go ahead and quickly give the poll just to see if we have any edge cases there. And we can close the poll if, Rocio, you see that most of them have responded.
We have about 40% who have voted, so I'm going to go ahead and just give it a couple more seconds just to let folks get their votes in. And we're going to go ahead and close that poll now and share those results with you.
Okay, so this is interesting. 50% said yes, they do want their placement faculty to see patient logs done by the students in the previous courses or rotations. So would anyone who responded yes like to shed some more light on this requirement for us? It'll help us gauge the need and the use case. If you could unmute yourself or raise your hand and we'll unmute you if you would like to speak up.
We do have Joni here who would like to share some feedback with us. Go ahead, Joni. You might have to unmute yourself on your end as well.
I don't know if the same is true of other programs, but for us, as we're looking at a student's learning progress over their course progression, it is helpful to look at what some of their patient log experiences have been, what kinds of procedures that they've done, etc., to get a better picture of their overall learning and whether there's any gaps that need to be addressed.
Got it, Joni. So thanks. So as an program administrator, so if you are the director or if you have access as a administrator, then you would definitely have all this information for the student from the previous courses. If you are an advisor also, you would have all this information. So if you're an advisor for that student and if you're helping the program gauge how the student is performing overall in your program and curriculum. They would also have access to patient logs done across courses for them to help with that. Would you say that this need is specifically for that placement faculty to have preview into the previous submitted patient logs by that student on other rotations, or would you agree that that need is more for the program administrator or the advisor of the student?
We don't have a lot of involvement of our advisors in the program. It's more the leadership.
Okay.
If particularly if a student is needing remediation or something like that, and they're discussing in a committee how to best proceed with meeting the students' learning needs or getting them up to the level that they need to be at, there will be, a review by, it might be course faculty, it might be the director of the program, etc. And so it's helpful to have viewership at that level for those with oversight over, all students in the program.
Sure. Agreed. So yeah, to your point, the program administrators and leadership will have that view, actually. So I think that will cater to your need. Do you see course faculty? So for example, if I'm associated with managing one particular course, would it help me as a course faculty to see what was the previous patient logging experience for a student before they registered for my course?
Possibly. It all depends. Course faculty is someone sometimes assigned to a course in sequential semesters, and so they follow the student along, and it gives them kind of viewership of how they've been progressing over time for students, particularly with concerns. And please chime in, other folks from different programs, if you manage things differently, but that's just how our college approaches looking, and that's one of the reasons why we want to use a system like this, is because we want to be able to access that chronological data, not just necessarily the current course the student's in, because that gives a bit better picture of the student's overall learning.
Right. Thank you for that. We'll definitely keep all these points in mind as we evolve our faculty module and the role accesses. But Joni, totally, administrators and leadership in your program will have access to all the patient logs course by course, so they can follow along and gauge the student's progression and preparedness in the program as they progress through the curriculum. So that is available today as well. So thank you for that feedback. We'll keep any other comments or questions, Roshio, before I move on?
I'm not seeing any questions here.
All right, in that case, I will share my deck again and we'll keep moving. So next, we wanted to see what other reports can a course or placement faculty benefit from? I quickly showed you that the course faculty really has access to all the data and all the reports, be it reports from evaluations, patient log statistics report, timesheet report, all of them are available to the course faculty. Do you see any other reports that you would need for the course faculty or the placement faculty to be more successful in their role? Any visibility that they don't have today that you can think of? You can either raise your hand or put your comments in the question box.
Okay, I don't see Joni. I think your hand is raised. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
We are new to using Prism, and so we haven't explored the reports fully, so that you may have something like this, but it would be helpful for us to have a report that shows time tracking comparing to the minimum hourly score that was set for the course. Is there something like that available?
Not today, but we would love to pick your brain to get that requirement and talk more about it, Joni. So would it be okay for you to share your email? And if you're open to it, we'll reach one of our product managers will reach out to you to discuss more about this requirement.
Absolutely. We've created a manual report in our previous system and color coded them based upon, where they fell in the goal of meeting their minimum hours. So maybe we could share that.
Sure, that would be great. So if you could just post your email and we'll get in touch with you offline.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
My
Any?
chat has disappeared. I used to have a chat thing. I've only got 4 icons now in the control panel, so I'm not sure how to access that to send my email.
I see. Do you see the chat section?
The chat is for just organizers. So Joni, if you have the questions section, you can add it there, and we'll have.
Well, that's what's missing. I can't see. I'm seeing show control. Maybe I just need to expand that. There we go. Yep. Thank you.
Perfect.
All right. Any other questions, Roshio, or can I keep moving?
You can keep moving along. No additional questions.
All right. Okay. In that case, and you're able to see my presentation?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So then the next question, we really want to collect some feedback on the curriculum mapping and how in your programs, how do you involve individual faculty in this exercise. In Prism, today you'll see that curriculum mapping is a functionality that we offer as part of our faculty role. And what the faculty can do is they can go, I'll quickly switch into the live product and show you. So if once they log in, they get 2 tiles which says mapping and mapping report. So this is where they can access the curriculum mapping data. And the way it's designed is that I can, as a faculty, when I click on mapping, I'm able to see all the courses that are offered in my curriculum and all the courses that are mapped. However, I can only edit the mapping for the courses that I'm associated with. For all the other courses, I can view what mapping has been done by the group, so by other faculty who are involved with that course, but I cannot edit or change that mapping. But for the courses that I am responsible for, I can go ahead and edit those courses, right? So that's how we have designed this. And so if I go back to my slides, what you can see here is you can click on your courses and then you can actually go and edit the mapping for those courses. We recently did a detailed curriculum mapping webinar showing you, training you how to do that. So a recording of that is also available on YouTube in case you missed that. So here I'll not go into the details of what can be done, but basically if you're a course faculty, you're able to change, modify, add mapping data. And for all the other courses, you're able to see the mapping that's already been done as well as completely access all the mapping reports. So you cannot change them, but you can access all the reports. So no difference in what an administrator can do versus a course faculty can do. Everyone pretty much gets full access to the reporting section of mapping because in fact, you want all your faculty to be aware of the mappings and how they map to your standards. So we do want to collect a feedback from you, kind of try and understand how in your program, how do you engage your course faculty in the curriculum mapping process? Do you have your course faculty contribute to curriculum mapping, or do you have a central person or team who takes care of the entire curriculum mapping for you? Or is it both? Do you do a combination? So we'll give you that question as a poll, and if you could answer that for us. Do we have the responses, Rocio?
It's not looking like anyone has voted yet. They might be thinking about the question.
Okay. Let's give them a few more seconds. That's a little surprising. I see 0 respondents. Folks,
Yeah.
are you having trouble seeing the poll or submitting it? I see Joni's hand is raised. Joni, would you like to say something? Are you trying to point out something?
Oh, I was just typing. I can't answer the question as it's not within my scope, and that might be the case for other people who've chosen because they're not sure.
I see.
I do know that our program director works on curriculum mapping, but I'm not sure of these other people in your survey who all is involved.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you for that. And that might as well be the case that we may have more clinical folks and they may not be involved with the curriculum mapping process. So we'll park that question and we'll keep moving. If you do know of what's the process at your program, you can always type it up in the questions and give us that feedback. All right, so I will keep moving in that case. The next question that we wanted to ask is related to compliance. As all of you might know, we do have an advisory section that gives access. So I'm going to switch back to our live product so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So on my dashboard, I see advisories when I log in as a faculty. And when I click on my advisories, these are all the advisories, my advisees, so I have full access to their learning activities, and I click on them, I land up in the detailed profile section of that student. From here, I get access to all their activities and their information. One of the sections you see here is compliance. And you can see here right now that I can see the status for compliance documents for my advisee. For example, we're not necessarily showing them the actual documents because they are governed by HIPAA policy, but we are showing you the status, whether the student has completed the requirement or if it's expired or if it's been approved. So that at least we are showing you as an advisor. So what we wanted to understand from you is that for your needs or the way your advisors work in your program, is this needed, like showing the status of compliance or giving them any information related to compliance? Even though we are not showing the actual document, we are showing the status of the document. So does that help you, your advisors, or are you where you're saying it's not required at all? So we would quickly like to get that feedback from you as we evolve our product. So there's a poll that we want to give you. So we have about 20% who voted, and all of them are saying no, you do not need to. Okay. So that's good to know. So you don't even care about showing the status of the compliance documents to your advisors, faculty advisors. And now I can see that more folks have voted, 40% have voted. Okay. We'll give a few more seconds if the rest of you want to vote and tell us about your preference. Okay. Any comments that you want to make in addition to this poll? Any more comments around what your advisors can see and not see? We can unmute you if you wanted to talk a little more about advisor data access.
Joni gave us a comment here. I answered the poll no, but it would be valuable to provide access to advisors because they have more regular touch points with students. It could reinforce the need to be in compliance at all times.
Okay. Okay. So Joni, for you, you do see the advantage of showing them at least the status to let the advisors help you monitor if the students are at least on track in terms of providing their compliance documents, even if the actual documents are not reviewed by them or not visible to them. Okay, so that's good to know. Any other comments or questions, Roshio?
No additional comments here.
Okay, all right. So then in that case, we'll keep moving. Let's see. The last part, really, this is the last section of our webinar today, is as we are evolving our product, right? This is the dashboard that your faculty sees. What our product team and Lakshmikant, who's co-presenting with me today, what he is working on is how to evolve this dashboard. And one of the things that's on our mind is to make these dashboard tiles configurable. That way we will be able to give you a more customized view which caters to your programmatic needs. So I'll give you two examples, right, for this dashboard. For example, if we could make the mapping tile configurable. So if your program is a program that does involve their course faculty in the mapping process, we could turn this tile on for your faculty. But if your program is one of those which says, well, only leadership takes care of curriculum mapping and our faculty don't really need to see or contribute to mapping, curriculum mapping, then we could make this configurable so that your faculty don't even see these mapping tiles, right? So that's what I'm talking about, making this dashboard configurable. The second thing that we would make it configurable is if some of you are from nursing programs, right? Nursing programs often use a feature that we offer in Prism, which is called My Requests, which is basically student self-placement requests. And do you involve your course faculty in managing those student self-placement requests, which we call My Requests? So if you want your course faculty to manage the student requests submitted for your courses, then we would have a tile that says process my requests on this dashboard, and they would be able to help you with managing those requests. So we would like to hear back on, and I'm assuming some of the audience are from nursing domain, but if you are, and if you do use the My Request feature in our product, if you would not mind giving us feedback on whether you would like your course faculty to help you manage the My Requests. So there's a poll that we're going to give you, and if you could give us feedback on that. And I think we have, most of them have voted, and I think the majority is leaning towards no. They do not want their course faculty to help them with process my request. Okay, can we get an understanding, if you want to type that in, that do you use the my request feature? Like, are you nursing domain and you use it and then you don't want your course faculty to contribute in that process? Because I do see some folks who are not from the nursing domain, so they may not even be using this feature. Okay. If you wanted to put that in the questions box for us to kind of gauge if you use this feature, but you don't want the course faculty to have access to it, that would help us. Any questions or comments, Roshio?
Not seeing any questions or comments, Shaka. Oh, actually, yes, we do have one. Adeline says, I am PA and I have access to my request. However, it is not completely set up. She thinks she might have to submit some questions, but definitely want the feature for when students set up their own rotations.
I see. That's good to know, Addie. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Let me quickly go back. Any other questions, comments? We are close at the top of the hour and close to the time to wrap it up, but we do have about 4 minutes. If any one of you want to share any more feedback, comments, questions, we can unmute you or you can type it in, your preference. And I do see Joni's comment that I think this is related to showing advisors the status, at least of compliance documents, that the more people there are to remind the students, the better. Okay. All right. Do you see any other comments or questions, Roshio, that we may have missed?
No, Adeline just needs additional information to set up my request for her program specifically, but no general feedback or questions.
Okay. So Addie, you can reach out to your CSS or account manager and we can definitely take care of those for you. All right, so in that case, Roshio, I think we are good to go. Thank you so much, all of you, for spending the time and giving us the feedback. All your feedback and the comments that you make and the examples that you share with us for your program-specific requirements and how you have some procedures in your programs, all of that helps us in evolving the product to better suit your needs. So thank you for taking the time today. Roshio, I'll pass it on to you so you can wrap it up.
Awesome. Thanks, Vishaka. And that does bring us to the end of this webinar. If you have a few minutes, we'd love to hear from you. Stick around once this webinar ends for a short survey to let us know how we're doing, what can be improved, and any additional topics you'd like to see in the future. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you.